Hello, Todd Clemens, and here is your weekly market report from Okeechobee Livestock Market. Before we get into that report, if you're like me, the market prices right now to me are not the most important thing. There's a lot of more serious things going on in the world than that. It's really disturbing to see the Israelis having to fight off the terrorists, the Hamas terrorist group, and the bombings and the senseless hatred that's showing up over there in that part of the world. We all know they've been fighting for 3,000 years, but still to see images like we've seen this week, and I haven't because I can't even stand to see them, but I've heard about it. It must be awful. And, my heart goes out to those families, and I just know that this country, we're friends with Israel, and we know that Israel, the country, is God's chosen people, and He's with them. And it was just awful news. So the cattle market kind of takes a back seat to that. But I was wondering how this market would react to that news and those events going on. And I just was hoping Monday, when we came here to sell cattle Monday, that things would just hold together. And it did. I was very surprised to see that. And then I couldn't figure out why, but when I went home and turned on the news Monday evening, I saw the Prime Minister from Israel stand up and say they'll wish they never bombed us, because what they've got coming is going to be much, much worse than that. And just knowing how Israel reacts to crisis like this, we know that He's going to take care of that problem, or that country will take care of the problems of the terrorist groups. And it just made me feel real good that there's a country that's going to stand up for their freedom and their democracy, and they're not going to take it. Kind of makes us sad that we're, kind of not right there. We used to kind of feel like we were there, but we need to get back to that. And I was surprised that those comments really made me feel positive. And so I decided that the market holding together had something to do with the feeling that Israel, the Prime Minister and the country, they're going to fight this, and they're going to come out on top, I feel like, and I believe. So to me, that was positive. And then the stock markets reacted positive. The Dow Jones was up, the NASDAQ was up. Things seemed to be moving right along pretty good. So maybe that message got across to a whole lot of people. And the market prices here, cattle prices, were good. So the world reaction to this, or the cattle prices reaction to this major conflict that's going on in the Middle East, was not as bad as I thought. I was prepared for things to get a lot worse, and for buyers to be, cutting back on their money, and prices to be cheaper and all, but it didn't happen. So that's a positive thing. Speaking of the futures and positivity, and that futures turned around. We're plussing on the plus side for 3 or 4 days in a row. Looks like the box beef prices have leveled out, and the choice prices have actually gained $1 or $2, and they're picking up. Some of the reports are saying the interest rates are cooling off. Consumer price index looks like it's a little bit more supportive. So there's some bad and there's some good. So maybe some of the good positive news is coming out, and this market was kind of in a doldrum, in a sideways pattern, and maybe things are shifting around now where it can respond to what we were thinking was going to happen to the inventory shortage, and demand for beef picking back up again in Q4. Slaughter cow prices this week really rebounded. That was one thing that was obvious and very noticeable after 2 weeks of lower prices, suppressed prices because of volume, I think, just pure supply of cows out there, that these packers could just kind of pick and choose and level off a little bit. So things have gotten back a little bit more current. Our cow and bull run this week was more normal, at about 22% of the sale, which is normal, and prices did recover. We called those cows and bulls $4 to $8 higher, which was real good. Cows are bringing over $1. Some really, really good cows are bringing $1.05 or $1.06. So that market looked good. The feeder calves, we had some very, very good calves that came in this week. Yesterday, Butler Bluff, that's Bob and Will, the Butler family, they had some really outstanding calves that came through here. Just to name one that I remember, they were good Angus, pretty much Angus type calves, a little bit Angus crossy, probably quarter bloods, straight neck, not Brangus calves, but they were just good 3/4 Angus type calves, good bone, good conformation, had all their shots. The bulls have been castrated. You know, they had ear tags. You could tell they were well taken care of. Those calves really sold high. They sold extremely good. So as always, quality is the king. There were some prices from the market report this week, just to give you a comparison of the weights of these calves and the price difference in them. Down at the 300-pound class of #1 steers, the average weight was 374 with an average price of $3.24. That's $1,200 plus for a little 3-weight calf. And then you go down to on up into the 5-weight category of #1 steers. There were a good number of them here this week too. That net average weight was 526, and the average price was $254 for $13. That's $1,336. So only, well, $126 more for a calf that weighs almost 200 pounds heavier. I think that shows to me that the lighter calves, these lighter calves, are being bought to get straightened out and backgrounded, preconditioned, getting ready to turn out for winter pastures, which means that there's plenty of people out there that have grass, or they're really expecting this market to get better. Given $1,200 for a little calf that weighs 370 pounds, that's a long life ahead of that little guy, and he's got to he's got to perform, and he's got to make it all the way on out there for another 300 days probably before he can get up there to where he's ready to go to the processing plant. So that's a lot of money for a little calf. The 6-weight steers, and these are #1s now. These aren't all the cattle that we have, but these are the very best of the best that are reported in the market report. So the 614-pound net average weight of steers was $2.30 a pound. That's $1,400 a head. That's a pretty good ticket. So the calf prices back to the producer is way better than it's been in a long, long time, and where I think people are able to put some money in the bank and start upgrading their programs, doing some fence work and some cow pen work and some mowing and chopping and fertilizing and things that you have to do on a ranch that maybe you couldn't afford to do earlier on. Now you're going to be able to kind of get things back into shape, and it's good to see the producers coming in here and picking up these big checks. You know, it's a fun time to be in the business. So this week, this Friday, we're in bull sale month of October. We had the Deer Valley Farm bulls last week. Angus bulls, really, really good set of bulls from Tennessee. JP, you did a great job with those, and you got paid off for it too. Those bulls averaged over $6,200, which was extremely good. Little Creek Farms and Friends will be this Friday. The Brangus breeders, 3 groups, Little Creek Farms family, that's Eddie and Gretchen and Tommy, and they've all brought their best bulls here to Okeechobee, and that sale will start at 1 o'clock on Friday. So if you need a Brangus bull, come see us. And these Brangus bulls are good to put with your cows that are probably a little bit more Englishy, and that you'd want to keep some heifers out of these bulls, because they're good sires, and you could get some good females to keep there and keep them on your ranch if you're into keeping heifers. That's a good way to do that. So come see us Friday, and if you need a Brangus bull, they're here already. You can come take a look or give us a call. I think maybe the catalog will be on the website. You can check out OkeechobeeLivestockMarket.com, view the catalog. go ahead and do your homework, make your choices, and then you can see the bulls here on Friday. So we're excited about that this week, and hopefully we'll see you then. We did have some top prices this week, and some familiar names. Gene Lawless from Lake Placid topped the calf market with a calf that weighed 305 pounds, and that calf bought $3.90 a pound, bought by Oak Lake. And on the cow side, Crescent Bar 3, Cat Cane, you did it again. I know you top the market pretty regular when you come to town, but you had a cow that weighed 1,345 pounds, and she brought $1.11, bought by Cargill. That's your market report. Thank you.